Good morning, everybody. Just an update. I actually am feeling a bit better in my stomach due to drinking the cabbage juice and the taking the zinc carnosine. I can sit up longer before my stomach starts bothering me. So that's a real positive thing. I was doing pretty well yesterday. We got out and I walked a little bit and I did a few things, and so my shoulders loosened up. So that was really a positive thing. But the issue that I ran into was last night. The house is still messy, so beside my bed there's like stuff, and on the other side of my bed there's stuff, and I was trying to get out of bed to go to the bathroom, and it's a long story, but anyway, so I went to the bathroom and I came back, and when I put my foot down on the side of the bed, to get ready to lay down, there was like something was wet there, so I don't know what happened, whether I spilled something or I don't know. So I didn't want to put my foot there because I didn't want to slip and fall, and it was gross anyway. So I went to scoot down to the further end of the bed, and I'm sure it was funny, but it wasn't funny looking, but it wasn't funny. But so I took a big scoot, and then I sat down. And basically, there was no bed there. There was I was on the very edge of the bed with my right leg, and on my left side, there was nothing. So I fell again on my shoulder and my hip with my full weight. Bed's about 3 feet off the ground, 3.5 feet off the ground. So that wasn't fun. So I woke up with my hip very stiff, but I worked that out a little bit. I think it's okay. And my shoulder seems to be okay. But of course, because of the angle that I fell, I re-injured my right side rib cage. So it's very hard to move around and breathe and, basic stuff, because it feels like somebody's stabbing you with a hot poker, basically. My leg is also like fire engine red. I have cellulitis, and I've been putting coconut oil on it, and I'm waiting for my chamomile. I can't think. My chamomile essential oil, so that I can go ahead and mix that with my coconut oil and put that on. It's good for cellulitis. And I also am getting tea tree, but I should get my things today that I ordered. So I'll have that chamomile, and so hopefully that will calm down, because it's pretty sore. Like right now when I'm laying here, it feels like it's burning, and if I move my leg left to right, it aches really, really super bad. So, but I did get around a bit yesterday with the girls. I went and picked Rachel up. We had to do some errands, and I was able to, get around okay, with help. But I didn't feel quite so sick yesterday until I fell. Now I'm not doing so great. But so the cabbage, basically what it ends up being is 1 cabbage per day. So you juice, a good sized cabbage, not the little weird baby ones that you get, but like a regular size, like the size of a kid's head, cabbage, and it can be red or green. Green or red is a little bit spicier than green in terms of flavor. I will tell you, if you, because I did refrigerate it this time, which I normally don't. Refrigerating isn't great for juices because the natural enzymes in the juice die off. But I was able to, I drank the refrigerated juice and it was actually a bit smoother. So if you have a really, really hard time with the juice and you want to make it a little bit smoother, you can put it on ice or refrigerate it. You can always dilute it. I don't recommend it. And I've heard people, say they put carrot in it or, another veggie or fruit to make it taste better. But to me, I'm all about don't dilute out the healing properties in the cabbage itself, because that's what's bringing your healing. And I will tell you, after one, basically just the first drink that I had of the cabbage, within 15 to 20 minutes, I could tell a definite difference in the pain level and just how my stomach felt in general. And with the zinc carnosine, but having juice cabbage alone before, I can tell you that the primary results are coming from the cabbage itself. So today, I don't have any juiced and ready to go. So I'm going to try to go juice some, or I'm going to try to get one of my kids to get up and do it. That's funny. And, that way I can continue on with the process. But one cabbage a day isn't bad. I mean, when you're talking about, as opposed to, some medications are, hundreds of dollars a month or whatever, if you don't have insurance. And if you do have insurance, it can be, $10, $15 a month, but you have to think about the damage that you're doing to your stomach, because the PPIs, which is the proton pump inhibitor, which are your omeprazoles and your lansoprazole and things of that nature, are, basically they inhibit your stomach from making stomach acid. When, basically what you need in your stomach is more hydrochloric acid to, break down the food and do it correctly, so that you can, get the food out of your stomach, so it doesn't ferment in there and create gases. And the reason why you have things like GERD and etc. is because your stomach acid isn't strong enough to break down, or doesn't have the correct compilation of, it's not the correct word, but it doesn't have the right formula for acid, doesn't have the right acid mixture, pH, in order to break down food correctly. So, or we've overfilled ourselves, and of course, our body's having to work overtime to try to break the food down. And at any rate, the food stays in our system too long, sitting in our stomach, and it basically ferments. And, in Ayurveda, there's certain foods and things that you don't eat together, because it creates that fermentation process in our stomach, which then creates, gas, bloating. You got, your GERD. And the GERD comes from a weakened esophageal sphincter. It's called something specific, but, it allows the food or, other things, gas and what have you, to come back up, into your esophagus, which then can cause, the vomiting, to throw up in your mouth, like you feel the burning. And it could also, if that goes on for years and years untreated correctly, of course, you could have Barrett's esophagus, which could lead to esophageal cancer. So, there are a lot of things that you have to watch out for when you're taking care of your gut, which is the center of everything. Your gut can actually, they say the gut instinct, and you can feel it in your gut. And when you get anxious, you get nervous and you feel it in your tummy. Well, a healthy gut is going to help you to maintain and moderate your emotional life. It's going to, of course, help maintain your food. It's going to help maintain other organ systems in your body, because, of course, your stomach is where you break down the fuel that fuels your body. So if you have, basically, for example, let's go back to the old carburetors, on the 450 Chevelle Malibu, 1972. Okay, let's say that. So you go back to the old carburetor, and used to be, the carburetor was, sitting up in the, over the air filter that was round. And, basically you would, the carburetor had the 4 compartments, and it could get dirt in it. It could get, all kinds of stuff in it and what have you. And when that carburetor got clogged, the whole car wouldn't run. Like, the whole car wouldn't run. No matter what you did. If the carburetor was clogged or really, really dirty, the fuel was not getting to the appropriate places, and you weren't getting any motion in your car. So, basically your car did not work. So it's the same thing, and I guess you can use it for fuel injectors too now. Even more so, they get dirty every 5 seconds. So, you have your fuel injected engines, right? So you have your fuel injector that basically filters and cleans and, processes your gas. I'm not a mechanic. I know the basics, but I know how to fix my car, but that's about it. But the bottom line is that your fuel is not clean, or your fuel is not, does not get to your systems broken down appropriately, so it's not in the right compound, it's not in the right formula, you're not going to work well. Your systems aren't going to work well, and basically over time you're going to begin to shut down, which is basically what you see happening with me. Plus, we put in foreign chemicals and compounds, hoping to help it, but actually it is not doing well. So the PPIs, the pump inhibitors, are the long-term, the, almost said Netflix, the, I can't think of the one. But anyway, the omeprazoles, the lansoprazole, and the brand names are like Nexium and, God only knows. There's one, pantoprazole. So, basically what happens is those pills basically, inhibit the creation of stomach acid completely. Well, what you really want instead is a process to happen in your stomach that creates the correct mixture of acids. As opposed to lowering your acid, you actually want to adjust the type of acidity in your stomach and the type of acid, so that it assists for the quick breakdown of the food that goes into your stomach, the fuel that you're providing for your body, so that it is efficiently and quickly broken down. So you're not getting old, nasty food in your system. You're not getting partially digested. You're getting the right strength in your center, in your gut, in the whole center of your being, which can control your emotions. It controls your body function. It controls, food to your brain. It controls everything. It feeds your cells, basically. It feeds your cells. Is as important as breathing? Of course not. It's airway, right? And then whatever else, and then circulation, right? So blood flow and circulation, I think. So, basically, what you want to do, what you're doing by eating, people say, uh, the apple cider vinegar, which may work well for some people. I've never had it work well for me. It actually does the opposite for me. And everybody's body and the type of problem you have with the composition of your with the mixture of the acids in your stomach is different for everybody. If we had a scientist come and extract some stomach acid from our stomach, we would find that every single person that's tested has a different pH, has a different mixture of acids in their stomach, and the reason for that is, your genetics, your natural body makeup, plus what you have historically eaten and drank over the years, and how healthy your gut is in general. As opposed to, not being healthy, obviously. So here's the deal. So basically, what you're doing with the cabbage is you are creating the optimum environment, and it helps to increase the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, and that helps to encourage the breakdown of your food appropriately. And it also has healing modalities for the lining of your stomach and esophagus. So you're having two processes, or several actually. There's 3 or 4 benefits to drinking cabbage, but the primary for me would be the adjustment of the stomach acid to the correct mixture that would be right for my body, and then also the repairing or the mending of the lining of my stomach. So that's basically what we're doing as far as the cabbage. Now you can look into it more, and I can post some links for you in terms of what the cabbage actually does for you. As I said here, it's ridiculous. These YouTube videos are, not professional. Obviously, they're not. They don't have, it's just a fat chick in the bed. So I don't know. But I appreciate you watching and keeping up with me. And, we are going to get to a place where we are transforming. This is a part of the transformation. Everybody has challenges, and everybody has things that they have to get through. And in order to transform, you have to meet every single challenge that comes to you. And, sometimes you're running to catch up with your challenge, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're ahead of the game and you're rolling with it. But if you wake up one day and you're behind the challenge, you've got a bad diagnosis, or you just feel like there's so much damage that you're not going to be able to fix it all at once. Do just like you do you should do every problem that you have in life. You do triage. You break it down to the most important piece of the puzzle first. So that you would do airway, breathing, circulation. So, your most important is your breathing. So if your breathing is okay, but you always need to strengthen it. So I recommend apps on the cell phone based on pranayama. Prana, yama, YAMA. Prana is life. Prana is life force. And pranayama is creating the air, to, bring that life force into your body. So airway is number 1. That's medical doctor number 1, airway. So if your airway isn't working well, you have COPD, like me, you have asthma, etc., then you want to make sure that you're doing your pranayama, which we'll get into as I'm able to function better. It's very, very hard to do anything when you're crumbled up. But basically, what you're looking at is there are apps on the Apple iTunes Store or whatever, and the Google Play Store that are free that basically work directly with your pranayama. Stop, Think, and Breathe is a guided meditation plus a pranayama app that is free. I would recommend that one. Stop, Think, and Breathe. And there's also, for meditation, there's Awake, which I always recommend. And then for pranayama, I have one it's just called pranayama, but it's a little man sitting with a blue shirt, and I think he has like pinkish kind of pants on, sitting in the lotus position. And that particular pranayama is good. And it basically all it is it'll have a circle with breathing, and it'll say breathe in, and then you watch the circle and you breathe in until the circle gets to a stop, and then it'll say breathe out, and then you breathe out until it gets to the circle, and then breathe in, and the repetitions change and the length of the repetitions change. So it helps to strengthen your breathing, it helps to strengthen your lungs, and so you take care of that. So if you're having breathing problems, and take care of the breathing problem, and that's going to be your first goal. You can't tackle something like cancer or a major disease by tackling it all in one chunk. You can't do it because there's just too many factors that factor in. Cancer does so many things to our body. And if we opt to choose chemo, which if you watch Gaia TV, or you can YouTube any doctor information about the how chemo is effective and how many times out of 1,000 it's effective. I will tell you this personally: if I were to be diagnosed with cancer today, I would not opt for chemo or radiation. I would immediately spend that money that I would be spending on chemotherapy, and I would hunt down. I would either go to the Deepak Chopra Center, or I would find, I can't think of his name, the gentleman who wrote the Hot Belly Diet, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner and one of the best in the world. And I would hunt down those Ayurvedic practitioners, and I would get well. Because I believe that much in Ayurveda and the ability to heal through food and herbs, and the whole body, holistic whole body technique. But anyway, triage your illnesses. So airway, of course, that's if you have a blocked airway, you're not going anywhere anyway. Breathing is what we're going to take care of first. So pranayama. There's also yoga for asthma. I believe there's yoga for COPD. It's the same asanas. And you can get that information free on YouTube. There are plenty of beautiful people who are willing to share their expertise and information for free on the internet. So before you go and pay a ton of money for something, do me a favor, pay $9.95 for Gaia TV, and or use YouTube rather than go out and spend $30 to $100 or more on things, okay? Because you can get a lot for free. So you want to triage. So you do your breathing, then you're going to do your circulation. So if you're having problems, say you have diabetes and you're having problems with the circulation in your legs, or other parts of your body, so you're having neuropathic pain, then you're going to want to do what you need to do to take care of that, and make sure that your circulation is good, your heart is good. So if you're having a heart issue, you want to juice for your heart health, you want to exercise for your heart health, and I recommend yoga, because it's gentle and it is effective, and it helps to clear the lymph system, and it does a whole lot of things. So anyway, bottom line is break your situation down into small, workable chunks. So my asthma is not in great control, but the reason why my asthma is not in great control at this point is because my stomach, which is the hub of everything, is not well. So when you have stomach acid coming up your esophagus, and it comes into your throat, and you either cough or you breathe in deeply, you're going to breathe in the acid from your stomach, and it's going to make your stomach, it's going to make your lungs react badly, and your asthma is going to get worse. So if you have asthma or COPD and you have a bad stomach and you're wondering why your breathing is so bad, well, your stomach is the key to that. So my focus right now obviously is my stomach. So I've broken down my whole systematic problem, which I have movement problem, I have neuropathy pain, don't know where that's coming from, I have a jacked up leg, and we're dealing with it, as a whole. But I'm taking the triage of, dealing with my stomach first, and then we'll handle all the other issues. Because I guarantee you that if you get your gut healthy, and it's not about taking like all these crazy probiotic pills that cost like $100 a bottle and all the stuff you see in health food stores, it's not about that. It's about juicing cabbage. I promise you, it's about juicing cabbage. And a lot of people say, well, eat sauerkraut or drink pickle juice. Or I found that all of that is very, very harsh on my system. My system's real sensitive. So if you can do that and you find a recipe for drinking pickle juice or eating sauerkraut, to help to build the right acid formation in your stomach, then by all means, use that. Message me, let me know what you did so that I can put a video out about it. But for me, for my transformation and for my past, the only reason why I'm doing this and being so adamant about it is because I know it works. It worked for me about 8 years ago. I was in horrible pain. My stomach was really, really swollen. They thought that I had an ulcer, but I had the Obamacare insurance, and there was just no way that I was going to be able to afford surgery. So I went ahead and I looked up on the internet for free, what the heck was I going to do about a peptic ulcer? And it said juice cabbage, 4 to 5 ounces, only 4 to 5 ounces, 4 to 5 times a day. So yesterday I had what I do is I have a red Solo cup, right? Red Solo cup. And I poured half of, I just pour it, I eyeball it, pour half of a cup of that. Don't be freaky about every little thing, okay? It's not, you don't have to be like that, okay? Life is a lot simpler than we want to make it. You just pour half the cup into the red Solo cup, and then you drink your cabbage juice, and you can drink it slow or you can drink it fast, but I recommend like taking your time, like letting it kind of absorb into your system. So you drink a few sips and then you kind of sit and you drink a few more sips, and you kind of let your system absorb the cabbage juice. And then I would wait for a couple hours, maybe an hour, before you actually ate food after you drink your cabbage, to allow for the cabbage to interact with your system, because that's what you want it to do. Now you can drink, if you've taken PPIs for years and you haven't been able to get to the weaning off of them. Look, take your cabbage with your PPI. It's not going to hurt you. It's cabbage. It's food. So it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to interact with the medicine. So that's the beauty of food for healing, is that it's not going to interact with any of your medications. It's not going to hurt you. However, the zinc carnosine can interact with things. So you always want to do like drugs.com or some kind of interaction, or talk to your doctor. From what I've found, most doctors have no idea about the pharmacology. They only know that they give vacations and lunches and golf games paid for by the pharmaceutical companies. They don't know, like in the old days, what cures what and what compounds they are a part of. The best place to go to find information about the pharmacology and the interaction of drugs is your drugstore, but you also want to make sure you have a knowledgeable pharmacist. And but for me, like I said, I'm doing this on my own. So for me, I'll listen to them and I'll ask them questions, but I want to see it in writing and I want to know that it's, that I'm getting the truth. So I will search the internet and I will find the answer, but I won't just search one answer. I'm going to search several answers, because I know if I'm getting several articles about the same thing and it's giving me the same information, make sure it's not referenced from the same article, but I'm getting the same information over and over again, I know that I can probably trust that information. But if you get one article on one thing and then you get 12 articles on another thing, you're probably going to want to ditch that one thing, even though it sounds good, and go with the other 12. Because unless that is a study done by a university hospital or a major hospital like the Cleveland Clinic, the Mayo Clinic, etc., Shands, you are not going to, just want to take that at face value. So you always want to make sure that you do your studies correctly. So no worries if you're taking PPIs or other stomach medications and you have yet to wean off of them. Still go ahead and drink your cabbage juice, because you can still have your healing. It can still help to adjust the acid in your system. You're just going to want to wean yourself off of the PPIs as you can. Basically what I would recommend for that is, take one day and then take another, like every other day it, then every 2 day it, and then, just do it that way. But of course, if you're taking anything by prescription or doctor recommendation, then you need to talk to your doctor. I will tell you that if you have any holistic or food plan to heal yourself, 95% of doctors are going to tell you that you're full of it and that it's not going to happen. And they're going to want you to stay on their pharmaceuticals. And the reason why they're going to want you to stay on the pharmaceuticals is if you get healthy, you're not going to need them anymore, or you'll only need them every 6 months or every year or every 2 years, but mostly every year when you get older like me, maybe every 6 months. And that doesn't bring them income. So, sad but true. There are some doctors out there that are out there for the benefit of the patient, but this is an income-driven industry. So, like most things in the world, The idea behind it is to sell as many things, services as you can, which means that being sick is going to benefit the other party, which is your doctor. And you go into the local produce stand and buying a cabbage every day. I would recommend, by the way, buying your cabbage not more than 3 days in advance. So buy 3 cabbages and keep them on hand in their fridge, and juice one every day for 3 days. Then go back to the produce stand and buy 3 more. That way, you always have a healthy, cabbage, and you're not juicing old food. So, what we went over today, I know another 35 minutes of me rambling, but what we went over today is if you're already taking PPIs and stomach medications, drink your cabbage anyway, because you're going to get a benefit. And if you do see a benefit and you want to give it a shot going off your medication, then go ahead and try that. Make sure that you're looking at any illness that you're conquering in your transformation. Break it down into smaller pieces. What's the most important thing? Where does it hurt the most? Or what do you think is going to help you the most? Is it your airway? Is it your breathing? Is it your stomach and your gut? And I think most everybody should start in their gut, because that is the fuel center. That's where everything starts, and it's where everything needs to, and it's really where everything finishes too, right? Because our bowel is attached to our gastrointestinal system. So where everything stops and ends. It's our fuel system. And without fuel systems, our car will not drive. So our meat puppet, our body, our physical skin that our soul comes into when we're born, our temporary vehicle will not work without the right fuel. Now, we have 2 systems in our bodies, just like we have 2 systems in our car. And we have the electrical system, which is our nervous system, and we have our fuel-based system, or our combustion system, which is our fuel-based situation, which is our digestive system. So these are 2 areas that we have. Now, people say, oh, you have the circulatory system and you have this and you have that. Look, for our benefit, for our practices, for what we're focusing on, so we have 2 systems. We have the combustion system, which is our locomotion, which is getting us from point A to point B and running all of our systems, and that is our gastrointestinal system. That is fueling everything, and it's helping to help our waste system. It helps our kidneys, it helps all of that. It also feeds our bloodstream. The right kind of food, the good kind of food to keep our pipes clean, right? To keep them running. So that's our engine. That's our combustion system. You got your pipes, you got your everything all tied together. But it's just like the gas in a car. You got your carburetor, which is your stomach, and it's, processing all that fuel, and it's sending out to the main part of your engine, and you're getting what you need to have done. And then you have your electrical system, which is your neurological system, which is taking care of your brain, and that's your electrical system. And we'll talk about our electrical system at another time, but I just recommend, meditation, etc., etc. So I'll be doing some more later, and I'll make the videos shorter so that you guys don't have to listen to flip and flop. Not that you do. 40 minutes of talking, but hopefully they'll also get prettier. So you don't have to look at, an ugly fat chick and her double chin laying on the bed. But, thanks for watching, and, we're getting there. So just hang in. It'll happen. Have a good day.